Hello and welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Mike.
I'm Rainbow.
And we meet again. And you know what? That's a good thing because it is the final day of our 3-day Trends and Fads look at everyone's favorite cool summer treat, ice cream.
Ice cream and gelato.
And sorbet. And now that I think about it, what is the difference between these three things? It's kind of confusing.
I know, but then you have to admit after 2 days of reading a dialogue between two characters talking about these frozen desserts, we do know a lot more, right?
That is very true. For example, we know that ice cream is made with more cream than gelato is.
That's right. And ice cream is also lighter and fluffier than gelato because ice cream has more tiny little air bubbles inside of it.
I didn't know that
Me
before
neither.
yesterday. And what about sorbet? Well, sorbet is sort of a cousin to ice cream and gelato. Sure,
Juice.
it is a frozen dessert that people eat in the same way, but sorbet actually has no milk or cream or anything that comes from a cow in it. It's all frozen fruit juice.
Which makes it perfect for people who are lactose intolerant, or that means people who don't like to eat things made from milk or their stomach can't handle milk.
Oh, and we also learned that some universities somewhere in the world let students take a class where they learn all about ice cream in university. And they get tests and marks and everything about ice cream. Weird.
But also very cool and very delicious.
True. So there you go. We do know more about ice cream and frozen treats, don't we?
Yeah.
But you know what? We've only just begun because in our article today we will have tons of more cool facts and science about everybody's favorite summer snack.
But of course, before we get to that, let's check out all of today's new vocabulary right now. 第3天我们谈到 sorbet, ice cream, and gelato 3种不同制作材料的差别。我们先来看几个单字。第一个单字 lack 缺乏、缺少是个动词。This spaghetti lacks taste. This spaghetti lacks taste. 这盘意大利面缺乏味道，一点都不道地。第二个单字 fat 脂肪是个名词。You lost fat, but also muscle. You lost fat, but also muscle. 你减了脂肪，但也少了肌肉。第三个单字 nut 坚果是个名词。Some people are allergic to nuts. Some people are allergic to nuts. 有些人对坚果过敏。最后一个单字 speed 速度是个名词。Chad likes supercars for the speed. Chad likes supercars for the speed. Chad 喜欢跑车，因为速度很快，当然也因为非常帅啦。好了，我们现在看完单字例句，一起来看课文。
Ice cream, gelato, and sorbet are popular desserts. Sorbets are made with fruit juice. Their texture is like ice because they lack cream. In turn, they have less fat. They're great if you're watching your weight.
Explanation 1.
Okay, so the unit is still titled Cool and Refreshing Frozen Desserts. But today, we have an article for you instead of a dialogue. So it's so long to Ben and Jerry. But let's see how our article begins.
Okay, the first sentence says ice cream, gelato, and sorbet are popular desserts. Well, we already knew that. No matter where you are in the world, you'll find locals making and eating one or probably more of these desserts.
For sure. And the cool thing is, you will also probably find different flavors based on the part of the world that you are in. I know that before I came out here to Asia, I had never had a green tea or matcha flavor of ice cream. And if you've ever been to Canada, my home country, you might have seen a maple syrup flavor ice cream in the local stores. It's very popular, and yes, it tastes like the maple syrup that you put on your pancakes. Canada has a lot of maple trees. And sorbets also, the third item in that list we just read. They might be one of the more popular all around the world, maybe just because sorbet is actually quite simple to make. And why is that?
Okay, well, we next read sorbets are made with fruit juice. So that's really easy, right? You can make it yourself at home.
Probably, yeah.
Everybody likes fruit, and since it has its own sugar, we don't need to add any extra sugar probably. It's just frozen into a sweet dessert, sorbet. So it's time for our first grammar point with Daphne. Let's pause right here and go to her right now.
大家好，我是 Daphne。今天的第一则文法是 make 的两种用法。第一种 ，A is made with B， 意思是 A 是用 B 做成的。这里的 make 是及物动词，意思是制作。三态式 make、made、made。with 是介系词，意思是用。我们来看个例句 ：Our pizza is made with tomatoes and cheese。我们的披萨是用番茄和起司做成的。第二种用法 ，A makes up B， 意思是 A 组成 B。这里的 make 是及物动词，意思是组成、构成。up 是副词，意思是完全。我们来看个例句：500 students make up the class of 2021。500名学生组成了2021年的毕业生。
So sorbets are nice, light, simple to make, and delicious. But they are actually quite different from ice cream and gelato. They're made from fruit and that's it. No milk, no cream.
So, as the next sentence of the article tells us, their texture is like ice because they lack cream. Right, so it's more like frozen fruit and icy water because that's exactly what it is, right? Frozen juice. And not only does this make them taste a bit different from ice cream, it also makes sorbets quite a bit healthier. As we read next, in turn, they have less fat. Well, absolutely. A lot of the fat in ice cream comes from the cream, which is essentially the fat in milk.
Yeah, so if you're on a diet, why not switch your ice cream or gelato for sorbet?
Yeah.
As it says in the sentence that leads up to our break. They're great if you're watching your weight. Yes, sorbets definitely are great. Okay, let's take a break in a second, but before we go and do that, let's check out our second grammar point, which actually comes from the second to last sentence we just read there.
第二则文法是 in term， 意思是因而、进而，为副词片语，使用的时候大多摆在句子的开头，并且用一个逗点跟后方的子句隔开。我们来看个例句 ：My students trust me. In turn, I offer them the best teaching. 我的学生信任我，我因而提供学生最好的教学。
Right. As we promised, now is the time for our break. But don't go far, because we'll have more cool ice cream and gelato facts coming up next.
Cream makes up a large part of gelato and ice cream. The first has 4% to 9%, and the second has 10% to 25%. They can also have nuts and other flavors besides fruit. People use different speeds to mix these desserts. That adds air into them. Can you guess which one uses high speeds?
Explanation 2.
So, if you are watching your weight this summer, sorbets might be the dessert you should be reaching for when you want a sweet treat. But let's be honest, ice cream is still very tasty, even if it's not so good for you.
Yeah, and it's hard to deny that ice cream is just so good. And why is that? Well, of course we know it's because of the cream. And there's a lot of it in there. As it says in the next sentence, cream makes up a large part of gelato and ice cream. Yeah, and that's why it's good.
So there is cream from cow's milk in gelato and ice cream. I don't think that this is big news to most people, but you know, exactly how much cream is there? I'm not sure I'd be able to guess, to be honest.
Oh, well, good news is you don't have to guess because we find out in the next part of the article. We just read that a large part of gelato and ice cream is made from cream. So in the next sentence it says, the first has 4% to 9% and the second has 10% to 25%. Aha! Since we're talking about gelato and ice cream, gelato would be the first and ice cream the second.
All right, or we could say it in the way that we learned yesterday. The former, gelato, is 4% to 9%, and the latter, or ice cream, is 10% to 25%. Wow, ice cream has quite a bit more cream than gelato does. I didn't know it was that much more.
Oh, me neither. And they both have much more cream than milk does.
Ah, that is a good point.
Okay, so milk is usually around, I think, like 2 to 3.5% cream, and lots of people also drink no-fat milk.
Right, 0% fat. So yeah, gelato might be slightly better than ice cream if you're on a diet, but neither of them would be considered light food. And then, of course, there are all of the other things that might be in your ice cream. As we read next, they can also have nuts and other flavors besides fruit.
Oh, that's good. And there's more. Not only do gelato and ice cream taste good, they also feel good when we eat them, right? That smoothness of the cream on your tongue, that's what we call texture. That's something that people love. 不管是美式或是意式冰淇淋，都有很多口味可以选择哦。平滑柔顺的口感深受人民的喜爱。Flavor 是口味、味道。Smoothness 平滑、柔滑的意思。And there's also a good reason for that. It's all about how they're mixed to blend the ice and the cream. As we read next in our article, people use different speeds to mix these desserts. Oh, remember the air bubbles in ice cream that Ben was telling Jerry about in the dialogue?
Right, yeah, that mixing is super important. As we read next, that adds air into them.
Yeah.
And so we finish with a question that acts as a little quiz to see if you guys were paying attention yesterday.
Uh-oh.
It says, can you guess which one uses high speeds? Ben mentioned it. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Well, if you're having trouble, that's okay. Why not think it over as you enjoy a nice bowl of ice cream?
Oh, or gelato.
Or even some sorbet to help you keep cool this hot summer. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Enjoy your frozen treats, and we'll see you back here very soon. Bye-bye.
Cool and refreshing frozen desserts. Ice cream, gelato, and sorbet are popular desserts. Sorbets are made with fruit juice. Their texture is like ice because they lack cream. In turn, they have less fat. They're great if you're watching your weight. Cream makes up a large part of gelato and ice cream. The first has 4% to 9%, and the second has 10% to 25%. They can also have nuts and other flavors besides fruit. People use different speeds to mix these desserts. That adds air into them. Can you guess which one uses high speeds?
The new Taipei City Hall is a huge building. It is 33 stories above ground and 4 stories below. Besides government offices, there are also spaces that offer services such as a post office, a bank, and a couple of service desks. On the top floor, there is a nice restaurant. It is the perfect place to see the scenery of the city while enjoying good food. Sometimes there are art shows on the first floor. You can watch them for free. Right in front of the building is Citizen Square. Many exciting events are held here. One of the most popular is the Christmas Land in New Taipei City. At the New Taipei City Hall, you can get things done and have fun.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny， 又到我们1分钟的单元喽。那我们今天是用1分钟的时间来复习4个单字，同学们您都准备好没？好，1分钟计时开始。第一个单字呢，它可以当名词或当动词来表达缺乏、缺少的意思，这个字叫做 lack。那我们是要用动词来造句。Emma's only problem is that she lacks confidence. Emma 唯一的问题就在于她缺乏信心、缺乏自信。好，第二单字它可以用来形容是肥的，可是也可以当名词来表达脂肪，这个字叫做 fat。好，我们是要用名词脂肪这个意思造句。Most fast foods are high in fat. 大部分的素食餐点啊都是高脂肪食物，像那个麦当劳、肯塔基，blah blah。好，第三个单词是坚果，坚果怎么说？叫做 nut。像我们可以说 There's a jar of nuts on the table. 桌上有一罐坚果。第四个单词呢是速度，速度怎么说呢？叫做 speed。The truck was traveling at low speed. 那辆卡车以低速进行着，一直时速20这样子开着。好，不管怎么样，我们在1分钟之内已经复习完4个单字咯，同学们表现很棒诶，那我们下次见咯，拜拜。
See you next time.